Hello everyone. Can I just start with a question? Can I just ask you how you feel about food waste? Good, bad? Can I maybe have some hands on who would like to help to reduce food waste? I hope all hands go up. That's excellent. I'm going to sign you all up today. So I'm Flo, I work for Produced in Kent, and I'm going to talk to you today about how we can work together in reducing food waste that happens on the farm. Now, I have brought some lovely Kentish fruit and veg with me to illustrate my story. They're also my memory palace, as it's called. So each of these items will help me remember part of my presentation. So there we go. I hate food waste. I get really cross if, I have to throw away an apple that I haven't eaten and it's gone off and, I can't eat it anymore. I have to throw it in the bin. That really makes me cross. Now, imagine being a farmer, getting stuck with tons and tons of apples. Believe you me, that farmer doesn't feel good about that either. Yet in the UK, on an annual basis, over 1.6 million tons of surplus food is generated on the farm. Now, why does that happen? Let me tell you some of the challenges that growers are facing who are producing food. First of all, the weather. You put some seed in the ground, you never know what's going to come out. It all depends on the weather. The weather can be really, really bad and you end up with no harvest at all, but if the weather conditions are good, you may end up with a bumper crop. Or in other countries like France or Spain, the weather conditions have also been very good and they end up with a bumper crop, and that will then determine the price that you're getting for your product here in the UK. So weather is very important. Secondly, routes to market. So what quantity you supply and what quality you supply and what the price is that you get for it. So in the UK, the supermarkets are the main suppliers or the main takers of fresh fruit and veg. They want loads of quantities, so growers often have to overproduce to make sure that they meet those quantities. But they also have very specific demands when it comes to size, to color, and to taste of a product. And if your produce doesn't meet the spec, then the supermarket may turn around and say, well, no thank you, but we'll go to somebody else. And you may end up with crates and crates of apples or potatoes or cauliflowers. Or the market is flooded with cauliflowers because of that bumper crop in Spain or France. And the supermarket may say, well, we'll go with them, thank you very much, and we don't need yours. Or they offer you a price that is so low that it's not worth it to even harvest it. So that may mean that a farmer may be left with produce and may decide to leave it in the field to just rot away or plow it back into the soil. So that's the second challenge. Now the third challenge is seasonal labor. We all know that farmers have had a lot of problems finding seasonal labor in the last years. After Brexit, it's become a lot more difficult for EU seasonal labourers to work in the UK. And all seasonal labourers, doesn't matter where they come from in the world, and they really do come from everywhere in the world now, can only stay for 6 months. So after 6 months, they all have to go home. So in that, that can lead to a problem for the farm to actually find enough labourers to work with. So again, you're stuck with produce left in the field to rot, or you have to plow it back into the field. So all these challenges together mean that we end up with a lot of surplus food on the farm. At the same time, we have a growing number of families living locally in Kent and Medway that have not the means to put a decent meal on the table, let alone a meal containing fresh vegetables such as this potato or fruit. And that's crazy. And what's even crazier is that these families probably live just around the corner from that farmer who's stuck with his crates of apples or potatoes or cauliflowers. So that's a problem that we really need to solve together. And how are we going to do that? We're going to set up a group of volunteers, which we're calling the Kent Gleaning Collective. Now, gleaning is it's the getting leftover produce of the field that has been, or of fields that have been harvested, or of fields that have not been harvested because it was not economically profitable. Gleaning is not new, it's been around for ages, it's even mentioned in the Bible. It was an old kind of traditional charity, if you will. So producers would leave part of their produce on the field for the daily labourers to take home with them. We have in Kent 2 gleaning groups working at the moment. They do fantastic work. They work with around 12 farms in the east of Kent. They have been working for quite a few years. But you know, they only work with 12 farms. And imagine that in Kent and Medway we have at least over 200 growers. So if we only could set up more gleaning groups, we could help more farms get more of that lovely produce off the field and onto a plate. You know, and that's what we want. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a gleaning group. Now, the second problem that we want to solve is how do we make visible and accessible the stuff that we glean off the field. For that, we're going to use an app called Food Loop. So we're going to, all the produce that we glean with the Kent Gleaning Collective, we're going to bring back to a redistribution hub that we're going to set up in Canterbury, the University of Kent. And then all that produce is going to be logged onto Food Loop. And everybody who is registered on Food Loop, that could be a charity, could be a food bank, could be a community group, they can then see what has been gleaned, they can put in their request, and they can come and collect it from the redistribution hub. So this is how we make visible what we've gleaned. And this Food Loop, it's a bit like an onion, a Kentish onion. It's got many layers because it's making surplus visible in more than one way. So because we put everything on it, everything that we glean, over a long period of time, say after a year, we can really show the total volume of surplus food that has been gleaned and redistributed, and the number of families that have been helped with this surplus and now have better access to really good, healthy fruit and veg. So that's one layer. The second layer is that those data can be used by the farmers who can then show to their stakeholders that they found a much better solution for their surplus and that they're reaching out to the community. So that's the second layer. The third layer is that actually we can use these data and go to government and say, why do farms actually end up with this surplus to start with? What role are the supermarkets playing in all of this? How can we make sure that the farms are getting a fair price for what they're producing? And how can we help farmers maybe find alternative routes to market? You know, these are all important things. So if, like me, you hate food waste and you want to help farmers become a force for good, then join our Kent Gleaning Collective today, because you can help solve a really tricky problem. You can work together with other people who, like you, are very passionate about solving that problem. You can learn more about the realities of farming, you know, see how the sector actually works and maybe what opportunities the sector gives you. But also you're spending a lot of time out in the open air, Garden of England, you know, it's good for your mind and for your general fitness. And if all goes well, after every weekly glean, you'll be able to take some of this lovely produce back home. So if you want to know more about the Kent Gleaning Collective, come and see me after the session to talk about it, or go to our website, producingkent.co.uk, and look up Kent Gleaning Collective. Thank you very much.